So this is the VRI Lab, which is facilitated by us, the multimedia lecturers, and if you take the multimedia honors degree, you will have access to this lab. If you're just taking some of the multimedia honors modules, depending on the need of the module for that degree, you will also have access to this lab and the equipment that is provided in this lab. You will see behind me there are 3 different rooms. We call them pods, and basically to make use of some of the VR equipment, you will have to book a lab booking to make use of one of these pods. And I'm also just going to show you some of the equipment that is here in front of me. These are the equipment that you will have access to. I will be going into a bit more detail, zooming in a bit closer so you can see a bit more detail as to why these equipment is significant and of interest to our research here that we do in the multimedia sub-department within information science. And yeah, let's zoom right in to the different equipment. Alright, so now that we're a bit more zoomed in, I'm going to be showing you the equipment a bit more close up. And the first one that I'd like to show you is pretty much the most simple equipment that we have, and that is something that is a bit upscaled from like generic Google Cardboard. And you can see that there are lenses in here. These lenses are actually taken from Google Cardboard. This here is actually also a product of our 3D printing, and basically you'll be developing for Android, and you can slip, or iOS actually, and you can slip your device in here. You can hold it to your head to make use of the device to do the experience. You do have a little button here that can be made use for screen taps, and there are slits on the side here for straps if you want to include it for your interaction. However, that is up to you to design if you are going to make use of this piece of equipment. So that is the more simple one. I'm also then going to go to the other side of the spectrum and just show you this headset here is the Htc Vive Pro I, and basically it's a high-end virtual reality headset. You may have seen it in the VR room in Menlyn or other places that are commercializing VR gaming for some public play. This specifically is the Vive Pro I, which means it has eye tracking inside. We have yet to have a project that makes use of eye tracking, so if that is something that piques your interest, you should definitely look into it. You will see that it has quite a few things, and I'm going to show you basically how it's worn. This cable will be attached to a power bank because this is something that makes use of the wireless kit so that you're not too tangled when you're immersed in virtual reality. So you pretty much just put it on like so. There's a knob at the back to tighten for comfort, and you can clip in to become fully immersed with the audio as well. You might look like a futuristic crazy scientist, but hey, this is the future. This is the future, old man. Alright, coming with the HTC Vive, you have the standard Vive Controllers, which has a trigger button, has some side buttons, which can be nice for picking up objects or a bit more particular things like maybe holding on to certain buttons. You have a trackpad that you can also click on, a menu button as well. These grip buttons can make it more immersive. One of the previous projects that an honor student did is a zip line, and it just feels more immersive to grab onto a zip line with these buttons like so than to use the trigger buttons. So it's up to your discretion as to how you want to map the buttons, but the important thing is to make the VR experience more immersive and more fun or just in general more engaging. If that hasn't piqued your interest just yet, I'd also, my personal favorite for controllers, I'm not sure if you've maybe seen a tech video about these, but these were aka the Htc Vive Knuckles. They're also called the Index, and basically as you can see, I don't have to hold on to them. There's a little strap that you can tighten here so that you can have an open hand interaction in virtual reality. You will see over here there's a slit, which means that the grips are actually pressure sensitive. There are some Valve demos that you can play around with in the lab that you can make use of. The grip, generic buttons just on the side, generic buttons just there on the thumb, so that you can make use of them as well. You have a trigger button here as well. And yeah, this is a lot of fun because that means you can actually pick up stuff without actually pressing any buttons. They also pick up per finger, so you don't even have to press anything. You will see in the demo, it picks up your fingers like this, and the hand representation is quite realistic. These excite me because it opens the whole world to, for example, finger counting interaction, or you know, it's just more intricate when it comes to the various interactions that you can do in virtual reality. And yeah, I'm really excited to have these. I'm really excited to see some of you working on projects with these and see what you can produce. And then we have one more virtual reality equipment that I'm going to bring to your attention now, and that is the Oculus Quest. This is the Oculus Quest 1, and this is a really high fidelity mobile VR. It doesn't quite match the HTC Vive, but considering that all the processing power is in here, it runs all the games here without a dedicated computer, that makes a big leap. The HTC Vive is very high fidelity, very powerful, but it does need to be attached to a very high fidelity computer. Intense gaming computers, as you will see if you make use of the lab. They're not the newest computers that were bought this year, but they're definitely very powerful machines, so that you can develop to your own desire. So anyway, back to the Oculus Quest. Mobile VR, this allows you to make use of a mobile track space that you can draw out yourself, and you don't have to be necessarily tethered to a computer. As I've already mentioned, the controllers that come with it look like this, and you will see that there are buttons over here to press. Pretty standard. Most controllers, as you have seen with other ones as well, has a trigger button, it has a grip button, and some buttons for the thumb. And this will also be mobile VR, but it won't be as difficult as developing for purely Android. So that's my personal opinion. Maybe you are familiar with mobile development and this isn't really an issue for you. And yeah, these are just some of the various virtual reality equipment that we have available for you to do research on. It depends on what your research topic is. And the final one that I want to show you is something fairly new. None of us or even the students have actually officially worked on this piece of equipment. It is not virtual reality. It is augmented reality. This is one of the the most high fidelity augmented reality equipment that is available out there. You might know what I'm talking about. It is the Magic Leap. This one will definitely make you look like a futuristic scientist. You are tethered to something that is a power bank and the computer as well. So let me just hold it out like that. And typically how you use it is you would wear this little handbag thing. And then you would put this on like so. And again, you kind of look like a crazy scientist. It also comes with one controller that you can make use of to click and press certain buttons. You will see again that there's a trigger button and the grip button for this one is on top above here, trackpad. So you will see there is a common theme with this. Something that is cool with this headset is that it does hand tracking as well, so that you can do certain things. There's a game that's on here where you can hold out your hand to create a shield, or you can hold out your hand to absorb loot that drops after you've killed an enemy. And those are some interesting interactions that you can definitely make use of. I'm just going to put this down here. While I'm talking about the hand tracking, something that I forgot to mention with the Oculus Quest is that yes, there are controllers, but it actually has hand tracking as well. It's not entirely perfect, but it's pretty close for what this little machine can do. And that obviously opens a whole new world of interaction for virtual reality as well. Various hand gestures that could potentially use for different interactions, or just arm length kind of interactions. And that is all the equipment that we have in the VRI Lab, and this will all be made available to you if you take one of the IMY honors modules that makes use of any type of this equipment. You can speak to your lecturers if you take the modules, and it's possible that maybe the module doesn't typically make use of this equipment, but if you have a good idea, speak to your module lecturers, and they may allow you to use this equipment. So with that being said, that is all the VRI Lab equipment that I've shown you. I've also just very simply shown you the space. If you have a chance to come onto campus and check it out at some point, you will see the space that we have and get an idea of what it's like. Typically our students, honors or postgrad students, are allowed to make use of this lab as their own research space. The open area does not require booking, but the pods behind me do require booking. That's everything that I have for you on the VRI Lab. Thanks for listening to me talk about the various equipment, and I'm excited to see some of you do some interesting things with these equipment.